In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, God is one. Amen. We now come to the third week of Great Lent, with this Sunday being the adoration of the Holy Cross. And the adoration of the Holy Cross comes as the midpoint of Great Lent, as a great reminder of our goal at the very end, to behold the glory of God through His Son on the cross. That God is to be glorified through His Son. That man could not do so on his own. That God is manifested in the perfect and unconditional love He had on the cross for all His creation. This creation that we speak of is none other than the whole creation itself. It is not that one nation is greater than another. It is not that one individual is greater than another, but that Christ died for all people, that He died for His whole creation, that His Father sent Him to save the world, to the Gospel of John. He did not send Him to make one person higher than another. He did not send Him into the world to say that one people deserve a salvation and not another, but that what God offers, He offers completely through His Son for His whole creation. And this is summed up in St. Paul's letter to the Romans, when the Apostle Paul told the Romans that all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Paul speaks this way to the Romans. He speaks this way to all people, speaking like this to the Romans, that even the Romans who were seen at the time, those who lived in the capital of the empire, who thought themselves to be the cathedral in Coral Gables, the center, the epicenter, Brooklyn, New York, Jerusalem, Paris, France, that God comes to us treating us equally as sinners. In fact, He told His disciples that the Gentiles, they treat themselves one over the other, but when you serve each other, the first shall be last and the last first. And by this He meant that those who shall come first, it is only by their service. Said, for even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and give His life as a ransom for many. Now, where would you put Christ? As last or first? It's very tricky. Be careful how you answer. Because He said the first shall be last. So He meant it by His service. That when you serve as the last, God glorifies you. But that we're all sinners, according to Romans, and all have fallen short of this glory. And usually on the cross, it would say above the cross, the King of Glory. We get this from Psalm 24. When we go outside and we knock on the doors, it's not because we forgot the key. It's because Psalm 24 reminds us that God, but He is the King of glory. Lift up, you gates, for the King of glory shall enter. And then the question comes, who is the King of Glory? The King of Glory is none other than the one who truly understood how to serve, than the one who truly fulfilled God's will. By this we are saved. It is because Christ did this for us. We could not do it as a creation. We could not do it as mankind. But that Christ did it first. And through his doing, we are able to receive that gift, that chance, that opportunity to be saved. So it is humbling for us in Great Lent to remember, just because we came to church does not necessarily mean that we know God. And just because we know how to pray doesn't mean that we actually are communicating with God. This is very serious. That God is not impressed by how many candles we light or how many icons we kiss. God is not impressed by anything earthly. He already has the angels in heaven which are perfect. Why would he be impressed by us? We are, in fact, according to the service we just prayed, are quite far from perfection. This service is very important because it reminds us that we are just fallen creatures. We are in need of the grace of God more than ever. See, it's very tricky with God. You're good, and he's... You could pray, you could fast, you could come to church, you can do everything, but he's still not impressed. Why would he be impressed by you when he has his son, Jesus Christ, who truly fulfilled his will? So in fact, the Apostle Paul presents Jesus as the big brother, the first one, that we, his siblings, should look up to him and see how he listened to the Father, so that we can imitate him and receive the life that he promises. So during this third week of Great Lent, as we approach the adoration of the cross, let us then prepare to continue our journey towards Holy Week and the Pascha of the Lord, and not, for he is holy now and ever, unto